Hey, B-Siders. Welcome to another episode of Bravo for the B-Side. This is Jim,
And this is Danny.
and we are putting out our first episode for 2026.
Happy New Year.
A little late, but yeah, Happy New Year. Like 3 weeks late.
Yeah.
Almost, by the time this hits. Wow. So, this is something that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we get into that and talk about some other stuff quick, let me just preface by saying we did not tackle this like we normally do with movies. We did take notes, but this was an extremely difficult thing to take notes on in our normal way of
Format,
doing things.
yeah.
Right? So this is not beat by beat. This, I was thinking about it, I would compare this film to trying to take notes on Glengarry Glen Ross.
Sure, yeah.
It's not what's going on, it's what's being said.
Right.
Right? So unless we like transcribed the entire film, at which point we would just play the audio for the episode.
Right.
Ended up talking a lot more about, I mean, there's some like little, touch points on what's going on, but we ended up both taking notes more on the what was happening cinematically.
Right.
Right. And it all kind of makes sense once we get into it. So yeah, it's not a beat by beat breakdown. This is just, it's one of those rare things where you can't really note the performances, as what's going on.
Yeah, it needs to be taken as a whole.
Yeah, it's not like a plot driven horror where the plot is just the killer kills the kids until one of the kids kills the killer, and it's not like a story analysis, just like Glengarry Glen Ross. We talk about that many times because that's a good example of the entire film is conversation, and that movie made it through everything and became great, right? Because of the cast that they put in there. They had some heavy hitters, right? Had a young Kevin Spacey paired up with Al Pacino, paired up
Alec Baldwin,
Jack Lemmon.
Yeah.
I mean, Ed Harris. These are people who had presence, and that's what made just visually taking in that everything was a bang, 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 bang conversation. We'll just do a little spoiler. Everybody in this was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, didn't even want to try and figure out how to take notes like we do traditionally. I just wanted to watch what was going on. Right? So, there you go. Little bit of what's coming. So we're in a new year.
Yeah.
And, make this your year, folks. Make that movie. Write that script. Edit that thing that's been do whatever it is that you need to do. Paint that painting, whatever. With everything that's going on in the world, really knuckle down on your little microcosm of stuff and make it worthwhile. The grander scale of things, we're not going to make a difference in those, but the everyday life that still continues on day to day to day. Like last episode, if this is for you, if you listen to it and you follow that advice and you pay attention to how you feel when you're doing this stuff. So get that out of your head. This imposter syndrome, this am I, blah, 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 blah. If you love what you're doing and it's all you can think of when you're doing it, do it.
Yep.
Bottom line. Trying to think. News. Industry news.
Yeah.
A
lot of it's been eclipsed by world news and events going on, which, I mean, this movie is sort of very much
very relevant. Oh my God.
Very relevant too.
I can't wait to dive into this. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Little spoiler. We are working talking with the writer, producer, director. And they actually reached out to us.
Yeah.
His rep. So we are going to have him on the show. We're working on scheduling. And that is going to be bam. That's going to be just amazing.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what he'll hear about our analysis or what he'll think about our analysis.
Well, I'll make sure he gets. Yeah, he'll get to this before it gets put up
Yeah.
because we'll schedule before then, so that he can have that to work with.
Hmm.
It is just awesome. So I think without further ado, we don't have any news.
Nope.
You know, I'm getting towards the end of the recovery thing.
Yeah.
It was nice taking a couple of weeks, not having to worry about movies and notes and recording
Hmm.
and editing and stuff. Nearly there. Can't wait for it to be done. I want to wear pants,
You're so close.
regular pants. Oh,
Not jammy pants.
no, for the entire month of December, once I got out of the hospital until even right now, pajama pants, which is people think, working from home, that drives me fucking crazy. I could never work in my pajamas like during the day,
Mm,
you know,
I
normally.
can.
Normally. I like to be dressed
Yeah,
when
I
I'm
get
doing
that.
stuff. And I think the novelty might wear off if you did it for 6
Yeah.
weeks,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
then every time someone comes to your house, you're like, oh, sorry, I'm in my pajamas. Like, just be dressed.
Yeah, I mean, we've played D&D on the last couple Saturdays and
Yeah.
in pajamas.
I mean, that's fine.
I'm in my pajamas. So, yeah. Um anyway, all's good on that front so far.
Woo.
And yeah, it's just, we're just into the new year, so we'll see what it has to hold.
Indeed.
All right, should we talk about this thing? Because unless we got something
Are you
important.
itching? Are
I'm
you itching?
itching. I'm itching ever since we watched the trailer for it.
Yeah.
I was itching to watch it, and I haven't watched it. I'm itching to talk about it.
All right. So this movie is called Guess, Repeat, No. It was made in 2023, written and directed by Michael Dahan, starring Salome Azizi, Musa Hussein Kraish, Adam Mayer, Kareem Saleh. I wanted to make sure I got them right.
Okay.
It was not rated, and the budget was estimated to be $250,000. Do you want to hear the logline?
Yes.
3 actors auditioned to play the Palestinian-Jewish actor and activist Juliano Mer-Khamis, a former IDF paratrooper who defiantly identified as 100% Palestinian and 100% Jewish. Oh, man. This was good.
Well, this was released in various film festivals from 2023 to 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And it is on DVD, and you can order it in Canada and the US. Maybe other places. I just went on what information I had. So I don't know
Sure.
how up to date it was.
How up to date.
Yeah. All right. Let's do this.
Okay.
All right. So we start the film with some supers giving us a brief history of Giuliano, who this film is inspired by. Very short, like like 4 pillars of his life. Bing, boom, boom, boom. Um, and then we find out we're on a film set. And then we have a woman's voice. She's explaining to someone it's not a role so much as a type,
Right.
right? And there's 3 different types in this one man. A man steps in the studio, woman on the other side of the window. So this film set, this it's hard to describe.
So
It's it's like a set within a set.
it is a circular set
Yeah,
with panels,
right.
and they alternate being open and closed.
But the walls aren't they're not walls,
Right.
right? Floor to ceiling.
Right.
Um
They're like panels.
yeah, so she's sitting behind a window as if you were like in a recording booth,
Mm-hmm.
right? She's on the other side and she's actually speaking to them through like a speaker.
Yeah.
And um
Well, and
but
the floor of the set is like what you'd see in a large professional playhouse that can afford that kind of thing. It's a rotating floor.
right. Yeah. Um but when she speaks, so she's behind this window, but I mean it doesn't go like up to the ceiling,
Right.
right? So think of it as like a play,
Yeah.
a set for a play.
It's
right?
like a theater version of a film set.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, so this gentleman steps in. The woman on the other side of the window tells him he's auditioning for Israeli Giuliano. The man says he didn't know of him so much, and then there's a little talk. We cut to another man who comes in, sits in the studio, and he's introduced to us as he's reading for the type Arab Giuliano. And the third man comes in, and he's trying out for public persona Giuliano. That type is to give context to Giuliano outside of his acting.
Outside of his acting and activism.
Right. And we'll get into that towards the end. Uh, and she describes it as performing his public self, as it were. So we move into this third man's role, and they're exchanging lines. He and the woman on the other side, which is like an audition, right? Uh, During all of this, it's in black and white. The camera is moving, and not found footage style, but like actual refined movement, and it's just dolly shots galore. And it's only a couple minutes,
Yeah.
and already, and I will talk about that towards the end. Well, actually, further down because we just talk about stuff. All I can say is it works visually, very captivating. The
I know it's really interesting because it is a small set.
Yes.
But because there is so much movement and there isn't a ton of room to move around the set.
No.
You can sort of pace around. 10 by 10 maybe. It's not huge.
Right.
But it gives this larger sense of movement as you're watching.
Yeah. So the movement and the changing of angles as this man speaks this is visionary cinematography with editing expertise.
Mm-hmm.
Every cut, every angle accentuates the words and performance in this very slow and deliberate movement of the camera. Then he's speaking, and there's war sounds playing, like kind of in the background, and he's walking around this little studio with a rifle. And then we cut to Arab Giuliano, and uh, he is representing as an Arab terrorist,
Mm-hmm.
and he and the woman verbally scuffle a little bit over, and I loved how they were doing this, over Lebanese being the same as Arab.
Right.
And he's like, it's not, and she's just like, potato kind of thing. This, and then he's like, okay, whatever. Right.
Yeah, she goes off script getting into arguing with him to the point where she's chastised for it by the director.
Yes.
And she's the director, but she's chastised by the other.
Yeah, it's very meta.
It is. Yeah. There's a lot of layers in here.
So just, bear with it. Arab Giuliano talks about who killed who in various wars. The woman starts to get a little passionate, and that's the kind of heated exchange. And then we cut to color, and it's the actual director.
Right.
It's Michael saying, maybe try it without being so amped up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. To the both. The woman says some lines, but the actor can't find them in the script. So there's a little exchange there. We cut to the public persona Giuliano, and his read is more grounded.
Yeah, it's interview. Right.
Yeah, so
it's
the
him
scene,
doing an interview.
Yeah, the scene is an interview, and he's speaking as one would expect in an interview, right? And then, and this isn't just like seconds. This goes on, and like I said, it's very difficult to capture the dialogue and what's going on.
Yeah.
But at one point we cut to color again, And there's more discussion with the director, Michael, the true one. And then we're back to Israeli Giuliano. And the scene is in a barracks. Now, mind you, nothing's changed. They're in this little studio in the studio thing.
Right.
Right. But you can tell by the dialogue and the way it's said is they're kicked back, they're talking. And at one point he stops and asks the woman, why three? And she says, all three of them together are a type. And we get back to it's three types. It's not a role. They're auditioning for a type.
Mm-hmm.
This one person is not just one dimensional.
Right.
Right. And in the beginning, I mean, you kind of get it if you're involved in this in any way, you understand. But spoiler, when it really just kind of flows down, and hits home, it's like, wow, you know. So then we cut to Arab Giuliano, and the woman is saying that this next piece is about a jihadi terrorist. The actor asks for a minute, and we see him kind of like walk.
Yeah, he's very edgy, very nervous.
And then he's ready, and his read is good. And then we're back to color, and there's some talking by public persona Giuliano with the crew. And then we're back to black and white. So when we're in black and white, we're in the movie. When we go to color, they're not in their roles.
Right.
Right. So it's a movie about a movie, auditioning for a movie kind of thing. Like I told you, meta.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of layers to what's going on in the film, and there is a reason for that.
And then we're back into the black and white, and he's talking to the woman who's the director, who tells him how Giuliano was executed in his car holding his infant son. And then we're back to color, and there's more discussion with the director. And a lot of these discussions, unless noted, really are very genuine, but they're part of the film.
Right.
Outside of the film. And they're very, very natural. It's would it be this, would it be that? It's looking for that, like, maybe not so much this, maybe too much that kind of conversations, right?
It's honing notes.
Yeah. And I just made a note. This is going to be difficult to take notes on. It isn't your typical film. I'm focusing on the filmmaking and dialogue. The camera movements are set, meaning that they're not just rote. They're not like shaky cam. They're not moving. They're not trying to be avant-garde and any of that ridiculousness. It just works. And because they're fluid, they're slow, they're changing angles, and we're going medium to wide to tight shots with these angles, right? And just works real well.
Yeah. And at this point in the film, I am, there's a scene for the public Giuliano, questions about him and his life. He talks about Giuliano predicting his death.
Mm-hmm.
And the director woman is like blown away by his performance of this. She ends up just completely speechless.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is almost like a artistic version of a biography, right?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. It's really interesting. So then they show a clip of the actual Giuliano in one of the films he was in.
Yes.
Because he was an actor and an activist.
Yes. He has a litany. He has a long list of films.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk more about him, what he was about after, I think, in more detail.
Sure.
After we, when we do our quote analysis.
So then later, all the actors come in at the same time thinking they have the lead part.
Right.
And she tells them they're all part of a lead part. And they are not thrilled by this situation.
No.
And she tells them that the three Julianos are there to solve the political problem. They're to solve the problem.
Well, yeah, they're looking for a connection.
Yeah.
And that's all she'll say to them. And that comes up repeatedly.
Yeah.
We're looking for the connection, looking for the connection, waiting for it to appear.
The link.
The link. Yeah. And that's not uncommon. When you go to auditions, there are times when the folks behind the desk, they're looking for something.
Yeah.
Like, we got the script, we got this, but we're looking for something yet. And that something can't come on paper. Has come from the bodies.
So you have to play around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot of discussion about politics, right? Juliano's politics.
Right.
And the general politics of the area.
Right.
And she kind of cuts them off and tells them to change into suits to rehearse the scene. And there are 3 different color suits, a black one, a gray one, and a white one. And so there's some more conversation about, which Juliano is in which suit and what that color represents for that aspect of Juliano.
It starts out with Israeli Juliano being in the black suit.
Right. And he's like, yeah, of course Israeli Juliano's in the black suit because.
And then Arab Juliano was in the white suit, and public persona Juliano was in the gray suit.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there is a cut between the black and white scene and the color again. And it's just kind of like the whole vibe of the film set, right? Everyone's kind of in on this.
Yeah.
So next they're doing another scene that all 3 are kind of struggling with. And then they pull up that same scene in the film that Juliano was in, but none of them are playing the role that Juliano played in the movie. They're playing 3 main parts of the movie, having a discussion.
Right. Well, let me tap into that real quick.
Okay.
So the movie that they're talking about, it's an actual movie, The Little Drummer Girl, that was done from a book. Book was written in the late 60s. Little Drummer Girl was early 70s. And Juliano played a part in there. And the book is essentially about, Diane Keaton is an American, and it's about the whole Israel, Palestine, the whole mess of everything happening like overnight, right? Israel happened here, this happened here. And it's about her being an American and trying to be moved basically into an asset.
Right.
Right. For spying. And now Juliano, I think he only has 14 lines. I think it was mentioned in the entire film.
Sure. And none in the scene.
None in this particular scene.
Right.
Yeah. But that is kind of what they're working off of. And I just wanted to explain that because a little bit later, they're actually reading that scene from that movie as part of what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, they watch the scene from the movie because the director goes, oh, well, watch the scene. And then they're trying to put Juliano into the scene in their heads, right? Because they're actors. They're trying to figure out what exactly do they want out of me.
Right.
For this role.
Yeah.
Right. And it devolves into a big argument. And the woman kind of tells the director tells them to play different parts, switch the clothes, switch the suits, switch the roles. You guys play different, roles in this scene.
Right.
And she tells them that they have to rehearse. They cannot leave until they find the link. And that this substitution, subbing for each other, will prove the link. And the 3 of them just barely get into the scene again before they tangent again and start talking about Juliano and whether he was a spy and whether he did this and whether he was this. And the director just leaves them arguing and they start to get angry. And she comes in with some new pages. And they are very pissed about these new pages because they're like, what? Memorize what, And the argument that follows, this is really, really gorgeous in its editing and cinematography. It's just constant camera and frame and motion and fluidity, and you see, and I think the editing does this for this scene. You see them, they are the countries, right? The US, Palestine, Israel.
Yes.
They're also the ideals, right? Muslim, Jewish,
Christian.
yeah. And they're almost a micro version of this continuous war.
Right.
Where no one wants to be a part of it and no one can leave. And that's where it all kind of like, it's very beautiful the way it's done, where it all comes together and you're like, I see what's going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they eventually kind of settle down.
Well, and the one thing I like about the introduction of the suits is ultimately they end up changing the suits. And that gets to a very, very tense conversations.
Yeah.
And not so much as opposition to changing suits, but you're asking an Israeli to play a Palestinian, and you're asking all of them at one point to play an American, right? Sort of this, and not really.
And you're
an
asking
American.
A Jewish man to play a Muslim terrorist.
Right. It really just hones in on the complications for that kind of thing.
Right.
Now, I mean, there are people who are like, well, you're an actor, you do whatever. Well, it's not that easy. And this movie will, paint it crystal clear for you how even like you got 3 guys trying out for a part in a film, right? But how complicated it can get, how hard, because there's just so much going on. And we're going to, get more into that as well. So it gets to a point where the actors all 3 of them are both working together and at odds with each other in their conversations, right? Because there's shots and dialogue from the little drummer girl as the actors watch, and at this point, well, we'll come back to that. It's not them arguing. It's not them asking for advice. They're
having a discussion.
They're having a discussion, and they're like on the same page, and then not at all the same page. On the same page, not at all the same page. And it is a flurry of things. It's acting, it's performance, it's art. Those are the things we're talking about. And then it's, who they are as human beings.
Yeah.
Right? They're not just actors, they're humans.
Yeah.
And it just shows how difficult it is. You can't just blow past things, right?
Well, it's also a beautiful reflection of like, no one is just one thing.
That's just it. And that's the whole thing with Juliano is, he is 100% these things, because we'll talk about at the end, we'll talk about his parents, right? And how he came to be who he is. And we're not going to do a whole biography. We're going to talk about the elements of it. And so anyway, when they get to this point where they're just kind of are they okay with each other? Are they going to keep at it? Conversations. One thing that I had noticed technically was the lighting. So there is, when I say there's a lot of movement and angles and cuts, there are so many, so many, right?
Yeah, it's a tight editing job.
Yes, but I noticed one thing. The lighting is just damn perfect in every single one. There is no soft spots anywhere. Every actor is lit, what's worth noting is you can see. So I got the camera on the left side of the set, right? I can see the guy on the right doing the dolly. He's pushing the dolly very slowly.
Yeah.
Not super noticeable, because that's your job as a cameraman, even when you're, not in the shot to speak of. They're wearing dark clothes and it's not all lit up and everything. It's off of the main lighting. But these actors were lit at every angle, every rotation. There was nothing, and nobody could pick anything apart about that.
Right.
And I mentioned that because I noticed it, and this is the planning,
Yeah.
to get that, because there's a lot of lighting choices to make. And we've seen things where, a camera will move around, or there'll be something, especially if it's like hectic, you got, like half light. So right side's fully lit. And as the camera moves, dark side, left side's darker. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes around stuff. Everyone does what they do for whatever they do. But this was just boom. I didn't miss a single thing. I didn't miss a single micro expression on these actors because of failed lighting.
Mm-hmm.
It was crystal clear. It was just perfect. And then we get to a point where the actors are told to switch clothing, and there were some hard exchanges,
Mm-hmm.
right? And for a while, the studio floor has, at this point, I didn't note it, but by this point, the studio floor has been rotating. So
Yes.
now we have a rotating floor, and we have dolly work,
Yeah.
right? These elements, I mean, shit, you have to see it. I can't do it justice. It is cinematically magnificent in how it all works,
Mm-hmm.
And not being a director. I mean, we're writers. I
Yeah.
don't know how to fucking direct. I mean, if, hard pressed, we could do something. Anybody can. But this, to think all that through and plan it, we'll get more into it. So the camera movement is visually astounding with all these elements working together. And, at this point, it's just kind of touching on things like the pieces I like most are when the actors are having these hard exchanges. They talk about what is real and what might not be real. Um, and we're, as we're being told about Giuliano in the movie. Um, yeah. So in The Little Drummer Girl, he was a background actor playing a Mossad agent, and there's 14 lines in the film.
Yes.
Okay. Um, and then at one point things get heated. Public persona Giuliano breaks up the other two, pointing out that the woman director is gone. So yeah, she left while they got into this really intense
Yeah.
exchange. And Arab Giuliano says he thinks they're still being filmed
Right.
because he's pointing out cameras. He's like, there's cameras everywhere. And then that's when the woman comes through the door with new script pages, just out of the blue. It continues like this. So this is about where my notes end.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I have some.
Well, I have a little bit here
Okay.
that I'll let you pick up from what I might have missed. Because I was just so captivated by this, and I had to write this out. I've mentioned it before a few times here and there, but there are very few movies that I have seen across my lifetime that have actually struck me with deep emotion. Right? This is one of them. Everything else aside, from the technical aspects and acting and so on, the movie made me feel an incredibly wide range of true emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they're real in the film and in me. Near the end, one of the most poignant pieces was when Israeli Giuliano was playing Arab Giuliano. And in a color cut, so where he's talking to the director, Michael, he's going to do the bit in his own voice. So Israeli Giuliano was affecting an accent. And there's a bit earlier where he's like,
Is it too much?
Is it too much? And someone's like, that's a little caricature.
10% less.
Yeah, a little bit less. But he says he's going to do this last bit, not in any regional accent. He's just going to use his own voice. And to do that, to bring a universality to what he's saying. This whole scene towards the end is a spectacular challenge on the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a challenge to memory. How is it best served and used to build a future rather than continue to justify the past and the present? Because one of the lines is, I want to teach children not to remember the past, remember the future. And there's a lot more to it than that. But that was this whole thing was such a ride inside. And, we're going to talk about more technical stuff and all of that. But yeah, this was after we after we were done with it. I'm like, why isn't this out there? Why isn't this like being shown to everybody? Like how to wake up and deal with the world, right? How to
Sure.
wake up and understand this particular conflict. Okay. And they're using Giuliano as the centerpiece because that's how he went down, right?
Yeah.
He was assassinated, and a man who was trying to do a lot of good, and started an acting school, and was dealing with everything that has to be dealt with there, and still trying to move forward,
Yeah.
right? Um, yeah. So that's where my notes ended because at this point, yeah, I ended up just watching and taking it in. And I'm like, I better put something down here.
I'm going to go back a little bit. So
Sure.
again, we're not doing this beat by beat. It's not even necessarily chronologically
Right.
as the film flies. But when they're all arguing and you see them as the people and the countries and the ideals and the religions, she comes in and she says she noticed a knot, and she kicks the public persona Giuliano out.
Right.
He's the American actor, and she wants to do a scene with the other two, and he's offended at being asked to step out.
Mm-hmm.
And then the two work out the scene together, and then they're not fighting by the end, the Israeli and the Palestinian actors.
Right.
So the Israeli Giuliano and the Arab Giuliano. And then when they have it all settled with each other pretty well, she sends the Arab Giuliano out.
Right.
And then she hands the Israeli Giuliano the ski mask. And that's when he has that very beautiful moment. And he does that lovely soliloquy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he gets emotional.
Yeah.
As he's doing the scene. And all three of the actors are really good, but this particular actor, the one who plays Israeli Giuliano, I think is the best of the three.
I think his performance, his part was such that I think he had more.
He had a lot to work with. I mean, he had that very manic scene with the war scene.
Right. But I think just the way it was written, like you can be in a movie and you can be an excellent actor. You can be with a bunch of excellent actors, right? Mm-hmm. But somebody gets like the lead,
right?
Not, or so as the closing bit, especially.
Yeah.
It just really, I think he had more opportunity to show his bones, mm-hmm. right, to the core.
And then I want to add in throughout the movie, on and off, but mostly on throughout the entire movie, there's a metronome.
Yes.
Ticking.
Yes.
And it holds the beat mm-hmm. of the film. It's a really interesting piece to use. Especially you don't think of it in filmmaking or, auditioning as far as acting and filmmaking goes.
Right.
You think of it more in terms of music, right? Mm-hmm. But there is a music to acting in its own sort of way, right? There's a flow.
Oh, there is. There's the pace, there's the flow. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times that's left to the actors.
Yeah.
The director's like, I need you to do this faster. Because they're thinking in terms of time constraint, right?
Right.
And think of it in terms of like television. You have X amount of minutes. It doesn't matter how creative you want to get. Mm-hmm. So they'll like tighten it up, say this faster, do whatever. But I love the metronome. And I have more to talk about that.
Okay.
But yes.
But yeah, this is a very beautiful film and very heavy.
Yeah. So is that it for the notes?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's dive into this here. There are so many things to talk about this film. I want to preface all of this with Folks, watch this. I mean, watch it by yourself if you're by yourself. Watch this movie,
Yeah.
right? But if you get a group of people together, even like a few of them, um, I don't think you're going to be able to walk away without talking politics.
Well, I mean, it's meant to start a conversation.
It is, and we don't generally do like political stuff. I mean,
Right.
that's not what the show is about, right? We're B movies and indie films.
Yeah.
Um,
Keep it light and breezy.
but I will go back. I will say this. I have a recollection of seeing Giuliano's assassination on the news. Okay. It was, a while back. But here in the States, we didn't give it a whole lot,
No.
right? And there just wasn't much. I mean, it was just like, boom, this happened, and then on to the next thing, and some, talk show banter bullshit and whatever it came out on. Um, the Okay, so politically speaking, when uh personal persona or public persona Giuliano was asked to leave, and he was wearing the gray suit,
Mm-hmm.
that was like kicking America out.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to boil it down to this. The message was, to me, politics is not going to solve this forever ongoing crisis.
I mean, that area of the world is the longest fought over area of the world.
Yeah.
It's probably the bloodiest piece of the world
Mm-hmm.
in terms of over time.
Right. And it made sense because America has been meddling since day one. A lot of
That's
other
what we do.
countries, Britain, Germany, everyone has been involved in this. And we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be. I wrote an email after we watched this to Michael's rep, saying, hey, I just want to make this clear. We typically don't talk politics, but this show is going to be a safe space because you and I, we don't have sides. And this movie shows you how difficult it is to like grab a side and not understand the other side,
Right.
right? Because especially when they were asked to switch to be their opposites,
Yeah.
right? Um, it it showed that as an actor you can do it, but it was very vocal about the misgivings, the troubles, the challenge of taking this on, saying these lines, putting everything into it to, mean it and to make the character real. And it's diametrically opposed to who you are inside, how you grew up. And I just let her know. I said, we'll talk about it. Michael can talk about anything. We'll talk about anything. Um, but I am not of Israeli or Palestinian descent, right? I'm as white as they come. I'm Irish, right? I'm one of the palest people on the planet. Don't have any family members at all who are from these regions, from these cultures. So, culturally speaking, I cannot say I identify with A or B,
Right.
right? I'm not going to pretend to.
Right.
I'm not going to pretend to understand, and I'm not going to support or condemn any particular point of view because I am not qualified. I
I
don't
mean,
have that right.
we're America in this situation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And it speaks volumes of how little we are actually brought into the truth of these kinds of conflicts, not just here, but for in the film, but just across the world in general.
It's fundamentally almost impossible to understand the nuances of the continuing conflicts, you know, without being there.
Exactly. And being there, you still aren't going to get it because I was also not only do I not have like any family understanding, I wasn't born there and I was not raised there on either side. I cannot pretend to understand fully what it's like to grow up and think this, see this, believe that. Um, I think what the whole thing wraps up in, like I said, Politics is not going to solve this problem. It's a problem amongst the people. But I think the problem is in the real world, you can't ask the guy in the gray suit to leave the room,
Right.
right? Because it's world powers.
I mean, you can ask, but
You can ask, but it's not going to happen, right? He's not going to just, okay, and then go off set.
well, I mean, look at what's happening right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, we
I
can't even
mean,
get our own shit together and understand it. So let's not even pretend. And I think watching it right now, because this wasn't going on when it was made, right?
right.
But what's going on right now just made it even more how quickly shit can spiral out of control. And it's a perfect example in America. And people may not want to hear this. I don't fucking care. But we are the worst.
Oh, I mean,
The American government has just been the worst. We have not been a friend to anybody. We have done this and done that. We have taken this side and fed that side. This goes back to Iran,
and
or,
it's not even just the current
Contra.
administration.
No, no,
It's
no, no, no. Now it's just a complete fucking mess, and we have no reason, no right to put our nose in anywhere and have an opinion about anything because of what's going on here. So I hold that back, just on that note.
yeah.
But again, not having those ties, a cultural or actual familial, connection to what's going on. I think I don't want to say right thinking people. I think smart people are going to see this and understand what should have been taught, should have been talked about, not just here, but across the globe. Side A, side B. It's like we talk about things in the past, right? So Christianity, um, Charlemagne, he was a hero,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Okay, but it depends on what side of the line you're on.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. History, and particularly the history of war, because all of history is war,
I mean, pretty much.
is written by the side that won.
Well, it is, but it's also when you look back on it, it depends on what side you're on. Because I mean, the losers write their own version, right? But it gets clouded over. I hate having said the losers. Those who did not win the battle. Let's say that
The defeated.
the defeated, right? There's so much flying through my brain, and it was when we were watching this too.
Well, I mean, I don't want to interrupt you, so you go ahead.
Well, just that the dialogue in this film is so on point, but it is not like propaganda stuff, right? Because we've seen propaganda films and we've
No,
seen
it's
stuff.
it's human.
It's human, and that's one of the things that is said when the three are in the room. They have at one point a debate about terrorist, right?
Right.
Well, you call him a terrorist, and because he kills people. Well, what are you doing? You're killing people, so maybe you're the terrorist. It's taking words and labels and assigning them to, in this case, an ethnicity, a people,
Well,
and
yeah, there's the whole speech, they call me a terrorist because we deliver bombs with our hands.
yes,
We don't have the fancy drones and the tanks and
exactly. That was like, oh, that was another like punching bag full hit. Boom.
Mhm.
I God, it's so easy to get lost in the train of thought. What makes this movie fantastic is it's about it's not really even about Julian. It's not a biopic,
No.
right? It's an audition for a film that's going to be about this kind of thing. So, real quick about Juliano, right? His mother was Israeli Jew, and his father was Christian Palestinian. I can't even imagine, right? I can't even imagine being a Christian Palestinian when the majority of your people are Islamic. And Christians and Islam don't always mesh. right? And then you have this other element of, well, no matter whether you're Christian or Islamic, you're Palestinian. So if your father's Palestinian and your mother's Israeli, you got to pick a side. Well, the beauty of I think Giuliano, the beauty of his life is his parents didn't make him pick a side.
Yeah.
I mean, he did serve in the Israeli army. He was a paratrooper. He also spent time in jail because he refused orders. He ended up punching a superior at one point. And then when he was done with all that, you know, became an actor, started this school. So with the whole thing about this gentleman is he was moving forward. And yeah, he was typecast because if you're going to have someone who, Mossad, well, you want somebody who looks, Arab or Israeli or Palestinian or whatever, right? You want someone who looks Middle Eastern and you can just put him in the part, give him the lines, and kabam, we have the character, right? Background or not. And I think that's kind of, I don't know if it was intended, but I think it was, to me, I saw this as a big jab at, here we go again. It's not the color of the skin that makes the person. And you can't look at the person, but in Hollywood, they do this all the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
We need, this and this and this. We've had Hispanic actors playing Egyptians.
Yeah.
Okay. So like the Mummy, the Pharaoh's wife. I can't remember her name.
Anck-su-namun.
No, I meant the actor.
Listen, I'm a movie buff.
She is not Egyptian.
No.
No, not even from that hemisphere.
No,
right?
She's stunning though.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and it's a part to be played and blah 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 blah. And so that's where I think like Hollywood has not helped anyone in any of this because we talked about like John Wayne doing Genghis Khan. We've talked about the people in red face playing Indians. Until we started calling properly Native Americans, at which point that went away, thank God. In a number of films, we have so many Native American actors who popped up in the last few decades because we finally got over this hump of let's be fucking real about it.
Yeah.
Right. Giuliano, everything, and I don't want to do like a biopic on him. That's why I didn't like put a bunch of stuff down and all the whole thing. We can talk about it with Michael.
Yeah.
But I think he is an absolute representation of if one man can live with these three conflicting sides, these bits and pieces of the world that is around him and who he is, his blood runs on both sides. If this man can work through this and decide, I'm going to do good, I'm not going to worry about what I should think.
Yeah.
I'm going to worry about what I need to think. And
what I believe.
Yeah. And I just think, like I said, anyway, why isn't this out there as like a primer?
It should be.
It should be. This should be everywhere. You should wake up and be thinking about this, not choosing sides, understand both sides. And as much as it would be tempting, stay the hell out of it. It's not your fight. It's not your problem. Because anytime a third party steps in, no matter how magnanimous they're trying to be about shit, right? You're not there on either side, right? You're not actually there. You're just a voice. You're just a white dude talking to people who you'll never understand. No matter how long you talk to them, no matter how long you read or how many books you read and how much you get into it, you'll never understand unless you lived it.
Well, here's what I got out of this film, just on a personal level.
Sure.
Before watching this film, I didn't know really anything about Giuliano. I know the broad strokes of the history of Israel and Palestine and, et cetera, et cetera. But I am I'm a white American living in the Midwest whose daily life, like the Middle East, is not impacting my daily life on a daily basis, generally.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's not something that I mean, obviously I care about, the people of the world. But as a human, when you're just living your daily life, you're worrying about, I'm getting, what am I going to do at work today? What am I going to do for dinner? What are the things that are affecting my life today?
Mhm.
And it doesn't hit that usually.
Right.
So what I got out of this was the appreciation and, a small amount of understanding of the more human level of the conflicts
Hmm.
and of the complexities
Right.
of the situation.
Right.
And this is going to sound like pretentious, but I think that what Michael's done with this film is really a wonderful homage to Giuliano because it's activism and it's acting and it's teaching and education and a conversation and it's art.
Hmm.
Um and
It's
there are multiple layers to all of it.
it's filmmaking at its finest.
Yeah.
It's not just for entertainment. And some films aren't going to ever do anything. A lot of comedies, they're just there to make you laugh, right? But this has a message, and I think the message is broad enough where people can make it their own, right? They
Yeah.
can take it in, and it'll mean something. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, it means a little bit different to me than it does to you, even though we're pretty much on the same page,
Yeah.
right? But we're two individual human beings. We're going to have at some point different takes on it. It's going to affect us or touch us or leave us with something a little bit different from one another,
Yeah.
right? And it, see, I look at it, so I have a lot more familiarity because, as most people know, I was an Orthodox priest for decades and gave up on it. And one of the reasons I went that route, not because I was a devout Christian, not because I felt like I needed to forward that thing. Growing up, Irish Catholicism is horrible. I'll just go online and say, or on record as saying that. But I always had questions, I'm not going to believe this is evil or this is wrong just because you say so. I'm going to learn more about it. And my whole goal was to not really be a Christian priest. It was to understand. And it did. I was fortunate enough to be asked into many places. The only place I've not been or had not been during that time was I was never invited to a mosque. And to be fair, the areas I was in, Northern Arizona, wasn't a lot going on,
Hmm.
right? But, I've been to synagogues and stuff. I've talked with other religious leaders from other denominations, other faiths, right? I've followed mysticism for years. I understand, Buddhism, Hindu, just all the things going on. I'm not an expert on any single one of them, but I felt like some good could come of it. And then it just all kind of went to shit. Won't get into it. But knowing all this stuff made that's why I think this is where it probably touched me a little bit differently than you. Um, this film put into very succinct, precise words all the things I felt my whole life on what side is what side. It's not even about sides anymore. What makes sides is governments. And governments, and Israel has a government, Palestine has a government, we have a government, Britain has a government. All these governments are fucking about, but it's people that are at stake. It's
People who are paying the cost.
people who are paying the cost. And it is people who are responsible for solving this. However, government has a wonderful habit of stepping in and preventing people from doing what they have a right to do. You know what I mean? If there could be a discussion, and it would be a long discussion, but I think right now we're at a point where we haven't even begun the discussion because we still have governments involved. But there's a lot of also letting go, that little bit at the end. remember the future. Remember for the future
Yeah.
is what it was. And that just, I mean, I got all misty.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was probably one of the most beautiful fucking lines to end this beautiful speech. And the way it was done and the way it was presented and having the actor, you know, say it in his own voice. Like, God, that is great. And it's not that because his voice wasn't a particular accent or another, but I just, those words, I want to say it in my voice. And that's the thing, is that's the human level. Humans have a voice. Government has an agenda.
Well, yeah. And
And
humans are as unique and varied as, you know,
oh
as
yeah,
anything. I mean, so you have a definite heritage in your blood lineage.
sure.
I don't.
No,
I'm I'm Appalachian and French and Native American and Norwegian and English and Swedish, and I think one of my relatives traced back to Attila. You know,
well, I mean, yeah, almost everyone in Europe, over that whole continent, you know, in the little islands,
yeah,
um, all of them have some Genghis in them. All
but
of them have some of
yeah,
that blood
yeah. I mean,
because that's what happened long, long, long ago.
yeah. I mean, some of my bloodline has been here since like the first colonies, and some of it came over when people were trying to get out of bad situations
Yeah,
or
and
trying to dream of a better situation.
I can go as far back as 19. I think it was 19. Well, yeah, 1917.
And I
Because
spent a lot of time, thinking about like, because I know Americans are a big melting pot of people from all over the world.
yeah, we're just a mismatch of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine, as long as we're all getting along, which we never are, but it is what it is. And, what do you identify with if you don't have a solid, blood heritage from one place?
Right. Well, and that's the whole thing here is, I'm American. And if you start doing that heritage thing, right, most people that falls apart because it's like, well, are you American or are you these 43 different ethnicities from
Yeah.
various points in time that have all come together? How do you want to do it? And that I'm not going to get into all that mess because I don't subscribe to it at all. Um, but
So I can understand at least partially the struggle of having competing, you know, heritages.
well, and that's the thing is it competing heritages or is it just identity? And where do you go to look for identity? And that's the one thing here. Each of these three gentlemen had a specific identity assigned to them, for their part.
Right.
I mean, the actors who were in this movie, and they did it very well. And when they were asked to go to speak with a different identity, that's when we had the conflicts, we had the back and forths
Hmm.
and stuff. And it just comes down to, because I want to segue out of the political bits.
Sure.
Um, I got out of this what I've pretty much believed, but this was just like on steroids, right? It just said everything I couldn't find the words for and made it so simple. I would have, overthought this till the end of my days.
Which was the point
Yeah, which
of the
was
connection, of the link, of
yes,
everything.
yes. Um, the only help
Hmm.
outsiders should give is because it is war. It is a war torn area. If you want to donate to Red Cross and stuff, and help the humans who are suffering because of it, then maybe that's where you focus on. But to like have political aspirations, to be like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go over there, I'm going to be a foreign dignitary and try to help this. No, that's the surest way to keep fucking it up, because nobody has any business involving themselves in anything because it's not their story. That's kind of where I just I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
you know let's talk about the movie itself. Let's talk about the stuff
Okay.
in it.
First of all,
Bring it.
The way that this is filmed almost doesn't feel like a work of fiction film. It feels like they were filming these actors auditioning for the role,
Yes.
and the actual, discussions that ensued, like it felt very real. I know that it,
Right.
was scripted and acted. I don't know how much, and we'll ask Michael about all that, but
Yeah.
that was something very beautiful about it, that it felt real.
Yes. It had the vibes of like a slice of life
Yeah.
because I felt like I was there on set.
Mhm.
Only I was gifted with the ability to see this wonderful camera work and everything and just kind of salivate over it. But I did feel like at any point I was somewhere in there. This was happening.
Yeah, it's a very like fly on the wall point of view.
Yeah, and I wasn't anxious for what's the next plot hit, what's the next story hook,
Yeah, I
where are we
was
going,
just
what are we
in it
doing?
and just enjoying.
We got to see this take place,
Mhm.
and that I don't know, so soothing,
Yeah.
you know. The camera work, like I said before, I'm usually not a fan of moving the camera because it's just been like done to death, and so many people don't do it well at all. David Ryan Keith, I love his
Slow
dolly
pans.
track
Yeah.
slow pans because it it fits. And I guess that's just the thing. You can either do it or you can't. I guess you can make it fit, or it's kind of it sticks out.
Or it's distracting.
Yeah, it distracts. His never did, and this is non-stop, non-stop from beginning to end. After those supers go away, we don't have text on the screen anymore.
Mhm.
It's movement, 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 movement by three men in, like you said, it's like a 10 by 10 circle that eventually at one point starts rotating with the cameras on
Also
dollies.
rotating
Yeah,
around.
going around very slowly. And then, like I said, we have all three. We have, tight, wide, and medium,
Mhm.
you know. And we have a lot of angles. There's just so much movement,
Yeah.
but it doesn't take away from what these actors are doing. And it does not at all distract from being present.
No, it actually adds to, the feeling that
Yeah,
the film evokes.
yeah. It's almost ethereal.
Right. It's like a dream.
Yeah, it is just beautiful. And I talked about the lighting. I would have expected if we had set up something like this, I know I would have lost my fucking mind trying to figure out the lighting. I would probably have, and I've done this on shoots, when I would do like catalog shoots and stuff. And it wasn't video, obviously, it's photography, but there's just some moments where it's like, this isn't going to be the way I see it. This is going to be what it is. I've
Right.
gotten this far and I'm just going to go with it. And that's the whole thing like Ansel Adams, shoot for the highlights. The shadows will work themselves out,
Sure.
right? And his photography is beautiful,
It is.
right? You can't get everything. That's light and film don't mix.
Yeah.
You have to manipulate both to make it work. But this, I just found it astounding. I'm like, man, this is superb. And we see every angle of all four. Well, mostly the gentleman, the the woman director. She's kind of stationary.
Yeah.
We don't get a whole lot of the movement of the camera around her because she's sitting facing them, right? And we see her, head on and stuff. But these three gentlemen, there's no like, oh, it's his best side or any of that. It's all there, you know. Um, the sound, again, superb.
Oh, yes.
There's nothing about this unless like craft services was shit and we wouldn't know about that because we weren't there. But there's nothing about this that you can pick apart. This is, again, one of the pillars of films that you need to watch as a filmmaker to get some lessons from.
It
There's these techniques, this beauty, and try to replicate it if you want. No one's going to complain.
it is also a very beautiful example of art being activism,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Of art with a point.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing I like. They're hard conversations. There were some hard words,
Oh, yeah.
but it didn't get like super ugly. Because we had talked about like what most people in most countries see what's going on in this area is what we see on the news. Now, here in America, what hits the news is shock value, shock
Right.
jock kind of stuff, right? So we'll
Yeah.
see the pictures.
That's what our media likes to present.
Yeah, we'll see the pictures, the film footage or whatever very quickly of the devastation, which I'm not making light of, believe me. But then that's all we see. And on one side, we should see that to know that horrible things are going on, but it's done so quickly and then we move on. It almost
At the
discredits.
impact.
It's an insult, right,
Yeah.
to what's actually going on. But we also don't get to see like the regular stuff. And anytime someone's speaking, it's political and it's, this and that. And just like when he's like, okay, you're going to play a jihadi.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's a terrorist and what's the words, and depending where you're standing, it means this, it means that. Who uses it as an insult or as a weapon? Who can speak about it as, like a matter of fact.
Right.
Right? Like there are jihadi, it's a word.
Yeah.
And it's a word because it's a thing. Mm-hmm. It exists.
And there are tons of factions and groups and, competing ideals.
Yeah. See, we're talking politics again.
I know.
And that's fine.
That's the thing. You can't talk about this without talking about politics.
You can't. And if you hate politics, still watch this movie and suck it up because that's the conversation. Because it's not discussing it to try and solve the problem there. It's discussing it so that somewhere else in the world, and maybe even here before long, it becomes a thing.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power, and power doesn't mean govern. Power, to me, is getting through life with as much understanding as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Not to quick make a snap judgment, not to fall into this crowd or that crowd, but to realize you're you, and everything you do has impact on other people. Everything you do ripples. And to have that wide lens view of maybe I should think about this. Maybe I shouldn't say this because I'm pissed off. Maybe I shouldn't say this to this group of people, especially because they're going to, in this country, we've got, 50, 60 groups who just go fucking bonkers if you say the wrong thing.
It's a boiling pot over here.
It's ridiculous. But that's a credit to the writing of this. This whole thing, the dialogue is so goddamn good. Again, it's like I'm there. And I felt like I was part of the conversation, but not putting in.
There to listen.
Whoops.
Why'd you hit your mic?
Because I can't.
Wow. You were just talking about keeping your cool.
Yeah, well, I'm going to quick break. So, folks, we're having some crackly problems again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we did a few things in the beginning and played it back and it didn't hear it, so I don't know if it's going to show up or not. But if it does come through in the mix, well, too late. We did the episode.
Sorry.
You're going to have to deal with it. Again, we're in this, decades-old log cabin with DIY wiring, so I'm doing the best I can to figure out where this shit keeps coming from, because as soon as I fix one problem, then it's coming from somewhere else.
Yeah.
But anyway, apologies, but is what it is. I got other important things to do. To spend months on this.
So to kind of wrap a little bit, right?
Yeah.
This as a film is 5 out of 5 stars.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? I would like to tell everyone to go and watch this film. Just as a piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see more of what Michael does.
Oh, absolutely. And I hope we get some
yeah, I want to hear his voice in film. I want to
bits of what's coming.
Yes. Yeah, I want to watch everything now.
Yeah.
Right? And that is ultimately the goal of any film, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And This is why I love when people reach out to us.
Yes.
We find a lot of stuff, and we've chased down, more than half of our guests and our friends.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had people, like Alex Cox, his rep contacted us.
I
Barney
fangirled.
Broom, contacted us. And I mean, it's wonderful
Mm-hmm.
because we would never have found um, Alex's, film. We wouldn't have
Right.
found Barney's film. Well, maybe Barney's because it would have shown up in the horror
Wild boar.
under indie. Yeah. But Tombstone Rashomon, I don't think would have crossed our radar because it was a long time before it I mean, we got sent the
Yeah.
DVD and everything. And, um, yeah. But anyway, um, this was, I mean, spectacular. I am so glad
Mm-hmm.
we got reached out to, because seeing this, um,
Well, it has enriched our lives.
it has from the political personal stuff, it has really like kept my brain going, and even more so resisting the urge to you know want to help. The best way to help is to just stand the fuck back and not be a problem, right? Because this is kinds of things.
I mean, that's my I'm a classic American. I want to stick my nose into everything and see if I
Well,
can help.
I'm a fixer, so I immediately I'm like, God, maybe I could. But again, why would
Why would anyone want to hear from us?
well, yeah, what would my qualification be? And, what kind of ego or whatever does someone actually have to be able to say, well, I want to sit down with this person and that person at a table and help them work it out? When, like I said earlier, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. You aren't in the problem. You aren't, you're going to become the issue.
Yeah.
For both sides. And you got to not
Ego
do
is
that.
the enemy.
It is. But from an artistic point of view, yes, it absolutely, people need to see it for the art. They need to see it for how art at its finest makes you think. I
Yeah.
mean, people go to museums and spend hours in front of paintings because it just makes them think, right?
Yeah.
Even if they don't have like the story, even if they don't, it's interpretation. Art is nothing but interpretation,
Well, it's
regardless of,
evocative.
yeah, whatever its intent was, it's how you take it in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is just a beautiful gift to the world of creativity in art in every form. This is something that just hits the core. It builds belief in itself, rebuilds belief. Because, a lot of stuff has gone kind of a weird way sometimes in all kinds of arts. The technical stuff on this is just, like I said, folks, the movie is the lesson.
Perfect. No notes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the only thing we could not actively talk about is craft services and transportation.
Sure.
Did they get rides or not? Did they
Yeah.
show up on time or not? Their cars and stuff. The actors, I want to say,
All of them were phenomenal.
absolutely. They all did a fantastic job in the job that was asked of them.
Yeah.
And music. I want to talk about music.
You always love to talk about music.
I always love to talk about music. How much music was there in this?
There wasn't any.
Yeah. And what do I say about music? Music is the foundation of emotional evocation in a film. You can watch a scene dry with no sound, nothing, just dialogue. You may or may not feel something. You throw some music on there, it's just like laugh tracks on a sitcom, right? It guides you. It helps bring you in. Didn't need it. Doesn't have it. Didn't need it.
But it had a metronome.
It had a metronome. And to me, I just want to touch on that because I said I would. I don't think it was so much for setting the tempo of the scene and the actors. I think, to me, it represented tick, 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 tick. Time's ticking.
Yeah.
This whole thing is going on, but tick, 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 tick. It can't keep going on. Time is running out. We need to get this resolved somehow. right? It just made it feel really heavy for me.
Yeah.
And
That
that,
was my last note on my notes. It was very heavy.
yeah. And I just, yeah, um, yeah, without music, that's a hard thing to carry. Glengarry Glen Ross had,
Music.
scoring and stuff. Uh, these guys, I love that silence. That's the thing, the silence, that
Mm-hmm.
because it had a couple different uh, tempos. It wasn't just straight.
Okay.
And I love that they showed it.
Yeah.
You see it at different points. It created a tension
Mm-hmm.
that amplified their exchanges when
Yeah.
they got heated amongst the actors playing the actors. And um I it's not documentary style,
No.
right? Uh, I love the color cuts
Mm-hmm.
and the couple scenes where we see Michael, and I love seeing the complete shit. And it's like a hard stop, boom, smash cut to we just had this whole thing, and now we got three guys just talking it up like three actors
Mm-hmm.
to somebody on set or the director or who amongst themselves, movie shit,
Yeah.
right? And then bam, we're right back in it. We're black and white, and they are who they are, and we're continuing this
Right.
thing going on. Um, that is a hard thing to pull off. We've seen because we've had we were talking about Deadpool earlier, but completely different, and I'm not relating it to this. But but the whole thing that made Deadpool work specifically was the fourth wall breaks,
Right.
right? Which comes from the comics and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
There weren't really any fourth wall breaks. I want to call them fifth wall, in that we're there, and we didn't hear cut, we didn't hear this. We just they're having a conversation, they're pausing,
Well,
and then we're watching this, and then we're in this.
yeah. I mean,
So
I feel like the director, the female director,
Mhm.
right, was almost a fourth wall. She was the fourth wall for the actors.
right,
But then there is that fifth wall of outside of the onion
yeah.
of scenes.
And that's just it. Yeah, like I said, if anything, this is very meta, and a lot of people have tried and failed at doing that.
Mm-hmm.
This is sizzling hot. It's just this is how you do it.
It's lovely.
Yeah. Um. So yeah. Also, so we talked about it's on DVD in Canada and the U.S. Also, it's you can. I think there was a whole litany of things when I looked it up. The actually, you know what? I think maybe because I have it right here. I believe. Yeah, that's the page I want to go to. So I'm gonna put my glasses on, try not to hit my microphone. So buy or rent, Prime Video, Apple TV, Uverse on demand. Direct TV and Dish are grayed out. I don't know why.
Probably because it's not available on those.
Maybe. VUDU, Google Play, YouTube, Xfinity, DVD through Amazon, and Movie Zing Warehouse, and then streaming Hoopla. So that's what comes up. Folks, do it, see it. Better yet, make sure you're paying for it,
Mm-hmm.
and support what Michael has done, because that's only going to help do, support what he's going to do.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Filmmakers make a movie to get the money back for making that movie, and hopefully be able to put something forward into the next one.
Yeah.
Um, I think lastly, I just want to talk about directing and editing real quick.
Okay.
I can't wait to talk to him and ask him, how was it directing something like this at so many different levels?
I want to ask about writing it.
Oh, and writing it, yeah, but the editing too. Oh God, just I don't know how it could be better if it could,
Right.
and I'm always curious, what didn't make it, what made it difficult. Was there a point where, because we know there were points where whole things have been dropped from a
Mm-hmm.
movie because it's like it's just no matter what we did.
Couldn't fit it.
Couldn't make it work, so it just had to go.
There's no link.
Right?
So,
So, yes, repeat, no.
check it out.
Check it out over and over and over
Mm-hmm.
and over.
And while you're browsing the internet for stuff, you can check out our website,
lordsofmisruleproductions.com.
Everything's on there. We don't need to go through everything, but give us a like, a share, a follow, a comment.
Yeah, whatever you're listening to this on, through your thing, do all that stuff. On there's also our Patreon links. Would love it if you became a patron. You can do a one-time thing.
Mm-hmm.
However you want to do it. We appreciate it. And yeah. Looking forward to the rest of this year. We're going to have our usual the next couple movies coming up are
we got some bangers lined up for you.
Yeah, these bad boys are
if you
they're going to be a ride.
Yeah.
But and then from beyond that, we don't know who else will be on, whatever. I do have to reach out to Kyle and see if I can get him and Hilton on, because we're in the new year. And talk about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do want to say shit. I keep wanting to say Film Rise, but that's not it.
Tubi?
No. The one that Kyle had on his last video he put up a few days ago.
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
No, but I said it, and I can't remember what it was. Son of a gun. Fill the empty air here for a second.
Well, did you know that we are also, writers and artists, sort of, and we do this. We do this without any compensation. This podcast costs money. Please help us. That was terrible. That's not a good way to fill the air. Do you know what? We have a
Okay. It was in the title of his video.
Sure.
So yeah, I was watching Kyle Hester's channel, as I do, and his latest video is about how Film Hub has put up a paywall.
Oh, Film Hub.
Yeah. Well, I keep saying Film Rise because it's on the menu every time we turn the
yeah.
So anyway, Film Hub, where he put all of his shit, and so many people have. Now I believe you have to pay $500 to do it, and then you need to pay $100 a month to have access to your statistics. So that's $500 on top of $1,200 a year. Grudgingly, he is going to have to do that for Preacher 6, because I mean, what else is there to do? And this, I want folks to walk away with this in mind. This is a problem. Okay, this is indie film. This isn't B movies where they have to wrestle with the studios, the parent studio, because they're like in a subdivision of a subdivision from Paramount or whatever, and they were given $6 million, make a movie, we're going to show it, and just forget about it, kind of thing. This is a huge deal, right? Because Kyle doesn't have that kind of fucking money, and people at this level don't.
In this economy?
Well, it's indie film, right?
I know.
It's indie film, and this is stupid to do that. And I was so disappointed when he was going, and you could see it in his face. I mean, and you can hear the frustration, and I feel it.
Yeah.
And he talked about Tubi, and we have talked about it. Tubi built themselves on the backs of indie filmmakers. Mm-hmm. They did not have one single title that was a B movie.
I know.
It was all indie film. And then they got some B movies, and the B movies that were like cast aside forever. Yeah. Right? Now they're showing, major motion pictures. And there's far
and Tubi
less.
originals.
Yeah, and Tubi originals. And there's so much less actual indie film.
Tubi is still free for users.
I mean, it is still free, yeah, but it's difficult to get on there now if you have a film, and I just think that's terrible. So I hope we can, as a community of creatives, come together at some point and come up with some ideas and ways to beat this, because this is just, it's terrible, right? And I just want to bring it up because I see in the future a collective. a collective without an agenda, a collective that rotates leadership or whatever, who sits in the chairs and stuff. Whereas really its existence is to keep getting art out there. And we've had this in the past. We've had hundreds and hundreds of years ago, we've had painters and sculptors, right, who have been banished and shunned and stuff. And then we've had groups come together and be like, no, we're putting this stuff up. Damn be the empire.
Yeah.
We're going to show these paintings. We're going to show these sculptures.
Platform.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just keep that in mind, folks, because it's just going to get like nastier and more difficult, and it shouldn't be this hard
Right.
to make art of any kind. So anyway, all right.
With that
downer,
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Again, we said it in the beginning, so I'll bookend it. Do your stuff. Make it. 2026. Make it. Make it. Grab that phone, even if you have to just sit there and stare into it. Read your fucking script and put it out as some sort of new take on whatever. Read all the lines. Read all the parts. Do the thing. Don't do a background. Don't do blue screen, green screen, or AI. Please don't fucking use AI. Just do it because you're doing it.
And Auld Lang Syne.
Excellent. Okay, so that's going to be it for now.
Until next time.
Yeah.
My name's Danny.
And this is Jim.
We'll catch you later.
Keep it up, B-siders.
Bye.